This is actually the first video this year that we don't do on the fly, but in the House of New Work. We're in the middle of the progress of like setting everything up. As I said, this now is the House of New Work, which will be a new workspace by Blackboard. There will be an update in one of the next videos about what we do and plan here. Today, we will cover a topic that we did in one of the first videos in this channel, I think 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. It's about priorities and how to organize your workday in a proper way, like a president would do. This video we do it together with Misha. Misha is a part of the Blackboard crew as a PA, and we call it priority assistant. And we will talk about the method, and you know it from Warren Rustands, which we covered in podcast 22 and video, I don't know, we link it. And can you quickly describe the method that we're looking at and what it's for?
Well, I think yes, we are exploring many different techniques right now. I think there is a little bit of Warren Rustands, a little bit of Covey. What we do basically is to try to find a way to stay ahead of things and to stay on top of it, because as I now notice, your schedule is quite intense. We are trying to looking now to find a way to have the next 2 weeks planned very much on spot, like minute-wise, and to have a specific glance at the 6 weeks ahead, so that we know day by day what we are doing there.
I love the question of how can you like optimize it, and this is why we should jump into that.
Well, so often people in power and position end up responding to those who want to see them, or responding to circumstances and situations. And the President of the United States, for whom I worked, Gerald Ford, was likewise. He received scores and scores of invitations each day for his time. And so we began then to set the schedule, his schedule, based on his highest priorities. And all of his time, virtually all of his time, was geared toward specific activities which supported those highest priorities. And what we found over time was that he had significant gains. He made significant progress on his very highest priorities.
Okay, so there are basically 3 inspirations for this method that we're using. It's Stephen Covey, the roles and goals that you said. It's from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is still like one of the best selling business books out there. And the roles and goals are important to think in certain ways. I mean, we had from just one brainstorming like 20 different roles that I cover, and easily from different areas. So it's the roles and goals. The second one is then the idea of time boxing, which connects Warren Rustands and Nir Eyal. Nir Eyal wrote a book about that and why it's so important to not just have your to-dos ready, but also like make it super clear when you do it. Which brings me then to Warren Rustands, who kind of used time boxing 40 years ago already, but he did it in a way of saying like, I cover the 2 weeks ahead and the 6 weeks ahead and everything beyond. And he told me in the podcast that he planned for 2 weeks in like an hour-wise tracking or like minute-wise, I don't know exactly anymore. The 6 weeks then in a daily one or in an hour one, and then the daily one, something like that. So no matter how you do it, it's this like looking ahead rhythm. So we look ahead on a weekly basis, but we always have a view of like 2 weeks or 6 weeks ahead. So these 3 methods we laid out. So let's go with the roles and goals. How did we do it?
So the main focus with the roles and goals thing is to prioritize and to find out what needs to be prioritized, because we are, as you said, we are planning our schedule, and then we can fill the blanks. We have certain non-negotiables like doing the podcast. There are things, they are just fixed in the calendar and they are there, and they will stay there. but before and after these events, we have time to fill. And since it is limited time, we need to fill it with the correct things.
And if you don't plan it, that's at least my experience. Like in the last 2 years, I didn't plan too much because I wanted to like leave some free space. But if I don't plan it, other people plan it for me. What I found like not good is I always had this open door policy, and in the calendar these days it means like the calendar is not packed so that people have the feeling I can call or I can like ask questions in between. And if we fill everything up, it looks like, no, I don't want to have a meeting and please don't call me, which I don't personally like. So how do we get over that?
You have your day laid out and you can just go into it and do the things you want to do. And of course there are distractions, and of course you will not reach like 100% of your time boxing goals, absolutely not. And you have to communicate to everyone you're in a relationship with that you are of course available, but everyone else has to accept that there's only a limited time. That doesn't mean you can't be called or anything, but yeah, you have to think about it. Why do you have to be contacted?
So the tools that we use are the calendar. It's reminders on the iPhone. We were thinking about an integrated tool, but it's built in, it's synced with all the Apple tools as well. What I really like is this phone list because it's shared. So for example, phone calls are a very important thing to me these days. And whenever there is a slot available, I can make phone calls. So we were on the way here and I open up the list and we have the name and we have the number and I make the call. And that's like a lot of clicks less than digging into a tool. So these are the tools that we use. We will keep you updated of how it works. And this pretty much is the most professional attempt that we did so far on attacking my calendar. Maybe we fix it someday.
I think we're getting there.
We're getting there. So make sure you subscribe. Let us know how you do it. Watch another video here and make sure you watch these old videos because we shared inspiration there. And these videos are not this black and white suggestion, but it's just one idea of how to work together in a better way, which is what we do at Blackboard like every day. And now there's pizza.